And welcome back to Around the Arena. I'm your host, Zack Kennedy, and we're going to get started right away here. So, today we're going to talk about the men's and women's golf team here at Westchester University. A team that doesn't get a lot of public media. I haven't really seen a lot of flyers, a lot of events, schedules being passed out, stuff like that. And obviously, it is very hard to travel to these invitationals that they play. They play at a lot of far colleges, golf courses. Their home course obviously isn't on campus. It's obviously off campus at Penn Oaks Golf Club. So it is a bit tough for students to really get to an event or even hear about an event. So that's why we're going to do this podcast today. We're going to bring some awareness of the golf teams, both men's and women's, and hopefully get some people to attend some of these events. So we're going to start out with the men's team, just the roster. The roster includes Ryan DiAriano, the only senior on the team, Brock Fosnot, John Glick, Adam McMillan, Fletcher Masterson, Hamilton McNaughton, Victor Momini, Frank Ruggiero, Jacob Sokolsky, and Connor Strine. So that's the roster right there. We're going to go over to the women's roster. Maybe you'll know some names on either of these teams, some of your friends. This roster includes Josephine Gianardi, Molly Gregor, Elizabeth Rafferty, Caitlin Samples, Madeline Ciuta, Margot Salas, Ava Sweeney, and Kirsten Vanderhorst. So those are the rosters for both the men's and women's team. You might know some of those names if you're around Westchester, have any classes with anybody, have any friends that have joined the golf team here at Westchester. So we're going to get into just some current events, just some news that happened. So both teams had a cancellation this past weekend at the Glade Springs Invitational. That was supposed to be kind of where they're getting going in the spring, and they've already played in the fall. They did well. Both teams did well in the fall, so that was good to see. But the cancellation this weekend now will make their next invitational will be their home invitational at Penn Oaks Golf Club, and that is going to be called the Dr. Edwin B. Cottrell Invitational. So if you guys have any time, that's going to be April 3rd and 4th. Any time to get out to the Penn Oaks Golf Club if you're a golf fan, if you know somebody on the golf team to show support. It's a great event, and I've been at the Penn Oaks Golf Club once, and it's one of the most beautiful courses in Chester County, in our area, at Westchester University, which is great. So now for some past news. The women's team actually played at the Alvernia Invitational, and this was their best finish in the fall, which is why I'm bringing it up. They came in second out of 5 teams at the Alvernia Invitational. Ironically, the men's team had their best showing in the fall at the same invitational, the Alvernia Invitational, where they finished first out of 10 teams, which is an excellent job. And, golf it's one of the hardest sports, hardest games, whatever you want to call it. It's one of the hardest things to do in life. I've played golf for the past 7 years of my life, and I could never compete with some of these athletes on these Westchester teams. It truly is fun to watch these kids from freshmen to seniors show up to these events, shoot in, the 70s, in the 80s, in the 60s, something professional golfers do, something you only see at the professional level, something you see only players working to get to the PGA Tour one day. Those players shooting, a 72, and then we have a guy on Westchester or a girl on Westchester shooting a similar score. It's just really fun to watch, and it's really cool to follow this team, both the men's and women's teams. So another big shout out to the coaches. So the coaches are Harry Hammond and assistant coach Mike Versuk. They have done an excellent job with the team, keeping everybody together, scheduling practices, getting to these invitationals, making sure everyone has the right apparel on. And from what I've heard from players that I know on the team, it's been an excellent, he's just done an excellent job, Harry Hammond. He's been an excellent head coach. He's very experienced on the course, and he's just been an absolute uh, pleasure to have here at Westchester University. So he begins his 15th season as head coach at Westchester this year, and he's been excellent. He's been with the men's and women's teams, as I've said. He really loves the game, and he loves Westchester University. He's also a member of PGA of America, which is a great accomplishment in that. And he's also received prestigious awards for just his dedication to golf. There's the LeBron Harris Senior Award that he won in 2016 by the Golf Coaches Association of America. The guy really is dedicated to this team, dedicated to the men's and women's golf teams here at Westchester, and he's been excellent. And he's a guy you got to keep in mind when you're thinking of the entire program as a whole. So now, as for the teams, we have the upcoming tournaments will be, as I said, the Alvernia Invitational was in the past. That was the one that they did well in. The one that they will be going to now is the Penn Oaks Golf Club Invitational, and that is going to be April 3rd and 4th, a Monday and Tuesday. The next invitational that follows that is the Lemoyne Invitational. It's at a golf club in New York. It's called Timberbanks Golf Club. And that's another just 2-day event. It's April 9th and 10th, Sunday and Monday. So in the span of 1 week, they'll play 2 invitationals, one at home and one on the road in New York. That Alvernia Invitational now comes back April 11th. It's just a 1-day invitational. It's in Pennsylvania, Montauk, Pennsylvania, if you've heard of it. The course is called Ledge Rock Golf Club. So if that's near you, for sure, show up to that event and show some support to this Westchester Rams golf team. The following event, and this is where it gets interesting towards the end here, and some major potential to go to the NCAA tournament, is you'll play in the Cecil Spadafora Invitational, which is run by IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. They will have a 2-day event April 17th and 18th. And then the NCAA preview tournament then comes. This is in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. It's at the Iron Valley Golf Club. And it'll be another 2-day event. And it's the preview tournament to the actual NCAA Atlantic and East Regional Tournament, which the teams will both be fighting to get into that tournament. And if they make it to that tournament, they'll have a 3-day event of May 5th, 6th, and 7th competing for national championships, for regional championships, etc., which is just extremely exciting for the team as a whole. And I'm surely looking forward to it. If you've been watching, or if you're not a golf fan, I understand, but there's been some outstanding tournaments playing in the professional field. We have seen the Players' Championship. We have seen the Arnold Palmer Invitational. A lot of these are more southern-based tournaments. And then as the summer kicks in, you'll see more tournaments, show up in New York, in a Boston area, in a Pennsylvania area, a Maryland, a Virginia, in some of the areas that might be a little bit chilly at this point in the season. So it's just been great to watch, and that's why I wanted to focus on this golf team. I feel like the Westchester University golf team hasn't had a lot of PR. I haven't seen a ton of flyers, social media posts on the Westchester Athletics. It's just kind of been, it seems like it's been a little bit hidden, I'd say. So I just really want to make sure I get a podcast out, get the players' names out there, get these golfers' names, speak about their schedule coming up, try to get some people to go to some events, attend any of these events. I wanted to especially give recognition to Coach Harry Hammond, who is just a veteran at Westchester, 15 years with this team, so many prestigious awards from the PGA, from the PGA Coaches Association. He's an outstanding coach, and he's some guy that needs recognition for the academic program and the athletics here at Westchester University. So now on to the next episode. So the reason I left some time to talk about the next episode is because it's going to be either baseball and softball combined, or I'm just going to focus on baseball. So with the opportunity of possibly having an interview with a baseball player or multiple players, we will be able to put together a podcast of 15 minutes of pure content, from hearing about the team, hearing about the coaches, hearing about the chemistry on the team, hearing about how excited everybody is for this season. And as some may know, at Westchester, winning a national championship has become the main goal. And maybe that's the main goal of all teams here at Westchester University. Maybe that is the main goal. But for the baseball team, it really has become almost a norm to compete for that. It really has. In 2017, they won it with Nick Ward, who's now playing for the Great Britain World Baseball Team, which is very impressive. He's now with the Phillies organization. He was on Westchester, also went to my high school, Unionville High School. And that 2017 team won the national championship. And then later, and before the 2012 is Joey Wendell, who's now in the major leagues. He won the national championship. So, and then last year they made a run at the national championship in the top four. The team it's always competitive. The coaches are fantastic. I did play baseball my freshman year. Obviously, do not play anymore. But I've met some of the guys that are still on that team now. They're leaders. They're fun to be around. They're hard workers, and they're just a full, complete team of chemistry, and they're really there to kick butt this upcoming year. And I can't wait to do that podcast. Like I said, hopefully we can get somebody on the podcast for an interview, or at least have some interview questions that I can ask them prior to the podcast and then talk about them through the podcast. And now with the softball team, I'm debating on either doing baseball and softball together, or maybe just sticking to one in each, because they're very busy seasons right now, and 15 minutes might not be enough to talk about each team. Surely is going to be difficult from how many games they're going to be playing, to go over the seniors on the team, the freshmen, the middle class, the coaches. It might be best probably to just do the baseball team and then the softball team, just to give each team their well-earned respect on their hard work the past year and their hard work coming up this year, and obviously the tournaments they have been playing outside of the state. So that's it for the golf team. We're going to be watching them, like I said, April 3rd and 4th. They'll be at the Penn Oaks Golf Club. A little bit difficult to make it out to events on Mondays and Tuesdays, obviously with certain students having classes, certain students having work, adults having work. But be sure to at least check in to the site. Check into the Westchester Athletics site. Look up their scores. We really need to be supporting, as a community here at Westchester University, we got to be supporting these sports clubs. The more we support these programs, the more support those programs give support to other programs, the more support those programs. It's just a whole domino effect. When one group is showing support to one group at Westchester, another group shows another. It's just the way to go, and it's the way to keep this Westchester sports program passionate, to keep it alive, to keep it exciting, and that's how it's been for as long as I've been here. And from what I hear, 20 years in the past, sports programs have always been at the top elite level of Division II sports, and that's a big reason I came to Westchester. I wanted to be a part of that baseball program, and it was the best year of sports of my life, having those experiences with those guys and being able to relate to different, you get on a baseball team in high school, and sometimes you might meet the kids for a few times, you see them at a tournament, and then you leave the tournament and you never see them again. Where showing up to this, I was meeting a kid from New York, I was meeting a transfer from Delaware, I was meeting a transfer from Rhode Island. It's just such a big group, diverse group of people, and you become so close. You become family. You're going to dinner, practice, class, study hall all day long. You're with these guys. They're inviting you out on weekends to hang out. It's a really fun program to be a part of, that baseball program, and that's how all these programs are. It's how the women's soccer team is. It's how the men's soccer team is. I can go down the line of basketball, football, cross country. I can go down the line of every single team and how the chemistry they have. And from what I hear from the people that I've talked to at Westchester, they're all close. They all have amazing chemistry, and that's why this Westchester program and athletic program is it's tier one, is what it is. It's tier one. So thank you for joining me here on Around the Arena. This is episode 3. We will be doing episode 4 next week, and it will be on the baseball team. I'm going to leave out the softball team. I'm going to do the baseball team first. We'll have an extensive podcast with the baseball team, and then the following week, we will get into softball, and then likely after that, we'll get into gymnastics, cross country, track and field, etc., based on scheduling. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next week.